Hey, what is good, friends? I hope that you are doing well today. Today, I want to talk about the economy, economic literacy, and the great work of a nonprofit here in Colorado that is doing incredible work across our state, reaching out to teachers, reaching into classrooms to help educate students about money and our economy. And this is an important topic, of course, for many reasons, but right now we are hearing so much about our national economy, about inflation. It takes more money to buy goods, and it feels like it takes more money to buy less things, right? And so this organization, Economic Literacy Colorado, is reaching tens of thousands of students, thousands of teachers across Colorado. And today, joining me here is Debbie Pierce of Economic Literacy Colorado. She's joining me here on Mile High Live. Welcome, and thanks for spending a few minutes with me here, friends, as we cover a topic of teaching about money and the economy. My name is Aaron Johnson, and I am coming to you from Castle Rock. This is my live streaming channel, and if you've not watched before, you're just tuning in, thank you. And I want to share that my mission here is to connect you with people around Colorado, people who help elevate our state and who are doing so uh, by rolling up their sleeves and doing the hard work to reach out to people and communities that are in need and help meet their needs across our state. And so Debbie Pierce is the president and CEO of the nonprofit group Economic Literacy Colorado, excuse me. And I've asked her to come on and join me to talk about what economic literacy is, how her organization is reaching teachers and into classrooms across our state, to share about exciting 50th anniversary of their organization. And if you stick around towards the end, I want to ask her about a special member of their leadership team who is wearing a Super Bowl 50 Denver Broncos championship ring. How cool is that? This organization really brings in a lot of talent, a lot of horsepower, and is doing great things around our state. So with that, look, I'm not going to delay anymore. I want to bring on Debbie Pierce of Economic Literacy Colorado. Debbie, how are you doing? Thanks for joining me.
Hi. Great, Aaron. Thanks for having
Okay,
me.
absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to start off at just a really basic level.
Mhm.
Can you explain what economic literacy is? I can make an assumption about what that means, but I don't want to assume that somebody who's watching this necessarily has the same uh, definition of it. So, can you share with us how you guys view economic literacy and what your organization is doing across our state?
Economic literacy for us is the fundamental understanding of how our economic system works and how each and every one of us is a member of this society and this economic system, which for us is the free enterprise system, the best in the world. So to have an understanding of how to fully engage and be an active member of our society is so important. And many of us just kind of figure it out by happenstance, but it can be a lot more powerful if you graduate from high school or college with the knowledge of what your role is in this society. And, we want our students to achieve a lifetime of economic understanding and personal financial security. It will empower them to be much more than they think they ever can be. So we are the only nonprofit in Colorado that focuses on economic and financial education for teachers to take into the classroom and teach their students. We believe in that power of multiplier effect. If they understand this important schooling and knowledge, they are going to be so much more powerful teaching it to their students, and it's really going to have a great impact in their classroom.
So, what is the, I guess, importance of teaching this as at a young age? And I guess I would ask in a way of, if a student doesn't get this sort of teaching, what are the impacts then potentially in their life?
Of not understanding even the most fundamental of economics. Well,
Yeah.
we believe um, in an economic way of thinking. And if you start people at a very young age, you can start little ones understanding between wants versus needs. Oh, mommy, I need that candy bar. I mean, that's a natural thing to say, and say, wait a minute, do you need it? Are you not going to live without it? Or do you want it? And the beauty in that is that conversation of need versus want, as an example. And let's stop and think about it. Have a delayed reaction. Let's talk about it tomorrow. How much did you really need it? And then what about putting that money away and saving it for something later or for an investment? And there's so many ways, even at a young age, to help children think differently about money, about
Hmm.
what their role is in our society. As they go, maybe they want to be an entrepreneur and sell lemonade at a lemonade stand. What does that mean? How do they have to learn how to interact with people that they're going to sell the lemonade to? Oh, but it costs some money. So it's not like I sell a 50-cent glass and I make 50 cents. So there's so many lessons to be learned throughout life that many people like me missed out on. And we can start now. And it's not too late to start at the high school age and getting them thinking about that and what their role is in society and how they can be wise. This economic way of thinking, that there are incentives matter. You graduated in
Yep,
economics, so you know
I
that.
did.
But we,
Yeah.
we talk, a lot of times about, consequences of choices that we make and positive and negative. And there's a cost to everything, not necessarily financially, but a cost to making that decision. So it's suddenly you become so much more aware of every choice that you make. That's probably what you picked up when you started taking economics in college, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I happened to get my degree in economics just kind of by happenstance. And as I was sharing earlier, I went into college at University of Colorado up at Boulder, and I wanted to be an engineering student. I was trying to get in the School of Engineering, and things didn't work out. Things weren't going my way. So, that's a story for a different stream. But so economics was there as an opportunity for me, and I had a roommate who, at the time, was also studying it and transitioned into it. And as I began to talk to him more about it and understand, oh, you know what, this actually really is interesting, and it's not something that I had previously considered. So, yeah, it was really valuable. And I guess I grew up in a home where I did at least get some basic understanding of how money works. Growing up in a family that had parents who were in banking, and so there was some advantage that I had there, I guess. Uh, but one question I have for you is: there certain, I guess, demographics or people groups around Colorado that may not have access to that sort of knowledge in the home or from other sources that you guys target, or does it run the spectrum from low income families to high income families across the state?
Right. We could really say every child is at risk of not being economically prepared and knowledgeable in this area, no matter how wealthy or poor. We work with all the teachers across the kindergarten through 12th grade teachers
Okay.
who self-enroll in our classes, as well as working with some districts on certain projects or certain schools. So we're across the board with the teachers. We have teachers from the tiniest rural communities to the largest school districts in Colorado. And
Okay.
we do our best to make sure they all know about us. We have a vast teacher database, and we've been around for 50 years. So we've built our reputation on providing really high quality programs, most of them university accredited. We work with
Wow. Okay.
UCCX, which has a great economics department, and our Center for Economic Education is down there. And so we do everything we can to let teachers know that we are there for each and every one of them. And yes, while we would love to do more in some of the lower socioeconomic or poor districts, we can't force our way in. We just do what we can to say we're here to support you, to provide whatever you need, whether
Okay.
it's lessons or activities, curriculum, and speakers. We'll do whatever we can, because it's so important to engage the kids with somebody who's knowledgeable and excited about
Yeah.
this and saying, this is part of your life. This isn't like some boring subject that you're going to say, nah, never need. You'll need it every day.
Okay.
So
And
that,
so
I
what are some of the type of curricula, I guess, is that the right word, that
mhm,
you provide for teachers then?
right.
So some examples of those.
We have
Yeah.
programs year round.
Okay.
We have what we call our core university accredited classes. They are Saturday classes. We offer 8 to 10
Mm.
of those a year throughout the each semester for each semester, taught by an economics professor, paired with a mentor teacher, one of our teachers who is very knowledgeable in economics, and spend a whole day with the teachers on those are on very specific topics. So let's see, some of the topics that are coming up this fall are economics of the Middle East, or Bitcoin and digital currency. And there's another one on,
Mm.
let's see, solutions to market failure. So very specific topics. Those tend to be more secondary economics teachers, and also reaching across the whole social studies spectrum, which includes geography and history, etc.
Okay.
And then we have some other more broader general programs. We have one for secondary teachers called Methods for Teaching Secondary Personal Finance with Economic Reasoning. It's a week-long, very
Wow.
intense, excellent class, university accreditation through UCCS. So the teachers can apply at UCCS to get graduate credits for that. We also have another
Mm.
elementary teaching personal financial literacy class again through UCCS. And so elementary teachers can learn how to integrate some of these personal finance and economic lessons into their classroom. And then we have a variety of things throughout the year as well. We've got some great Money Wiser workshops. They are day-long workshops that help teachers K-12 learn personal finance and with economic lens for themselves. So we bring in special speakers. They could take a class on wills and estates, or how to build a family budget, or whatever it might be, as well as our standards, our K through 12 standards, what they should be teaching their students in their grade level. As you may know, but not a lot of people do, Colorado is a state that does not require personal finance or economic
Mm-hmm.
education to graduate. It's up to each and every school district to take that on. And so we're scattered throughout the state. All 178 school districts have just different graduation requirements. Some require some require personal finance, some require economics, some
Okay.
integrated into some classes, some don't. So we just do our best to say, we're here to help you, we're here to help you, we'll do whatever we can, and provide a variety of courses, as well as personal one-on-one interactions when we can.
That sounds like a robust program that you guys have going on. So that's
Yeah.
good. Okay, so for folks that are watching this, I want to make this an engaging stream, and if you have questions as we go along, if you're watching this even on the replay, share it down below. We would love to try to help answer your question. And if you think you know of a teacher that could benefit from this
Mm-hmm.
sort of program, please just type like yes or something, whatever. Type your school in this in the comments down below, because I think this is great what we're hearing, and we want to help share it with you. So okay, Debbie, as a parent, I guess I'm not a teacher. I don't have a classroom, but how can I begin to teach my kids about the value of money and our economy? I mean, you talked about like lemonade stands, and I remember going with my oldest son, who he's 14, and going door to door selling popcorn with the Boy Scouts, right? But what are some other ways that we as parents can teach some of those basic lessons here at home?
Right, there's
Yeah.
so many ways with youngsters, and there's different philosophies on this. It's important for kids to know that everything you run across the grocery store,
Mm.
conveyor belt, it costs money, and this plastic card isn't free. There has to be money behind that. So it's so important, if you're not using cash in front of your kiddos, to explain what this card is. I can't use this unless I have money in the bank, or I'm going to be in big trouble. I think earning allowance is a great way to teach them lessons. And some parents tie chores to allowance, some don't. That's a very personal take on it. But start, at a very young age, help children know that these coins and these bills are of value. And it's really important. I'm a strong believer in the save, spend, share, that with every single dollar you end up with, whether you earned it or whether you got it as a gift, some of it needs to be saved.
Mm.
Some of it can be shared, donated, and the rest can be spent. And you as a parent decide what that is, but always, always put some of that money into three buckets and start at a young age. And then look ahead, and sometimes then there's the investment bucket. So start in that way. Make sure that young people have the opportunity to work, but again, make them aware that just because they came home with a $129 paycheck doesn't mean they have $129 to spend.
Right.
Too many of us went through that, and then we you get to college, it's like, oh, I don't have any extra money. So start now. Make them aware. That helps so much. It makes a big difference in their life as they get older. I know that a lot of the teachers share stories, and some of my personal story too is the young people that learned this either from parents or at school, go to college, and their roommate doesn't have a clue, and they're stunned, because the fortunate kids that have parents that give them some guidance see it through a different lens. And that's what we've got to start doing, is let them know there's a new lens that they can look through that will really impact the rest of their life.
That's great. So save, spend, and share. Thank you. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then taxes on that. Like in my house, I teach my kids about taxes and the dad tax, really. I come around every so often, I have to extract my dad tax. So
yeah.
Usually it's if they have a candy bar or something.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, right. There are so many ways for kids to learn, and there's far more than you just get the money and you walk away. When you get your very first paycheck and they say, why did FICO keep $49? Who's FICO? So there's so much to learn, and our standards are great because they, at every single level, kindergarten through 12th grade, are very explicit about what students need to learn. And when they're getting to the high school years, they've got to be adulting at that point. And many of them want it. They don't know what they don't know. And that's our challenge, is that this is the perfect opportunity to reach all the children in school, because so very many parents either aren't capable or confident enough to teach their children. And so where are they going to learn rather than the school of hard knocks once they're 21? So we've got to start young. We have to make this a priority in our educational system.
So you talk about reaching students. How many students does your organization reach, Economic Literacy Colorado, reach across our state? And how many teachers do you reach through your program?
Right. Yeah. Most of our programs, as I said, are focused on teacher education. We do have one program that is for the students, and it's called the Stock Market Experience. And it is very exciting. They learn about the stock market. What is that? How do you buy stocks? What do you mean I could own part of a company? And so that is one of the student-focused programs, and we're going to be bringing more on this year as we grow and start adding more programs. But through the teachers that we teach, and it varies from year to year depending on the programs, anywhere between 1,200 and 1,500 teachers a year attend our classes, kindergarten through 12th grade. And in turn, if they're an elementary teacher, they might have 30 students. If they're high school, they may have 150 that year. So we can reach upwards of 90 to 100,000 students a year through these teachers. And over the course, the multiplier effect, we have some teachers that have been taking our classes for decades, a couple of decades.
Oh, wow.
And over the course of their career, they are reaching thousands and thousands of students. So we have every year we have brand new teachers, which we're thrilled about. And every year we have a lot of those returning teachers who said, this has changed my life because I didn't have to take any kind of economics in college. I was going to be a history teacher, and that was my focus. And then my principal said, I need you to teach economics. And they said, what do I do now? So that's where we come in. Okay. We're the economics school or college for teachers, and we've got that reputation. And the teachers that start coming to our programs get the value. They love being in a classroom with an economics professor, and we continue to, and then they get the word out to another economics teacher in their school. So part of it is by word of mouth. The rest of it is we market to just getting more teachers every year and make them aware of what we can do for them in the classroom.
Okay, so that's something that I didn't realize, that you guys, a teacher can be in this really for the long term. It's not just a short term. Yes. That's great. Okay, good.
And okay. Right, and that's why our Saturday classes, our core university accredited classes, it's very exciting how those are developed every year. So twice a year we have an education program committee that sits down with the professors and look through what have the teachers requested, what is the hot topic right now. I mean, Bitcoin and
Yeah.
currency is hot topic now, or the economics of the Middle East, or we had one on socialism versus capitalism. So those are always brand new topics. They are not repeats. So that's where a lot of these semester classes and then all of the spring semester classes, learning something new every time, and then they can still carry that information into the next year and the next year and with another class. And so that is where this information just keeps getting relayed year after year.
Perfect. Okay. And so for anybody that's watching this, I'd be curious, what is a topic that you would love to learn about in going through this? And Debbie, you mentioned Bitcoin, right? And so that would be one, because I'll admit, I really don't know anything about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and I think it's probably a very fascinating topic, but just something that I have not taken the time to dive into. So that's interesting. I've got to ask for you, how did you get into this? How did you start with Economic Literacy Colorado and this sort of program that's really doing great work, helping equip teachers with what they need to be personally financially, more secure, but also to help their students in the classroom?
I served on the board for this organization starting in 2014 when I was working at the Daniels Fund and was asked to serve on the board. And I thought, great, I know very little about economics. I knew a lot more about personal financial literacy. I was at Young American Center for many, many years. So serving on the board, my eyes were opened as to what economics really meant. And it became fascinating, and I was thrilled to pieces. And then when this position opened up, I was actually incoming chair that year, about to become the chair, and scrambling with the outgoing chair. What do we do? How do we find somebody for this position, et cetera? And it took about 2 weeks for my brain to suddenly settle in on, wait a minute, this is what I would love to do. Just take the leadership of this organization, which is just so. It's very behind the scenes in many ways, but bring it back, to the forefront in people's minds and make the whole community and the state aware of who we are, what we do, and why we do this. So that's been very fun. And we have great people on our team. In terms of my staff is brilliant, very small, but we're really powerful. We got 4. Now we just brought on a 5th full-time person, a couple part-time people, and we have an amazing board of directors that provides great guidance. And we've had just last year, even though COVID was really a dark cloud hanging over us, the silver lining for us was we were forced to go virtual with all of our programming, and we did it. We have a couple of staff members who are unbelievable, and in doing so, we reached teachers from La Junta to Sterling to Craig, all over the state, who could attend our classes. And we're thrilled to pieces to be part of it. So we gained a lot of new teachers who are excited that we're doing things virtually. We had a wonderful year in terms of support. We've got such tremendous, really dedicated people who support our nonprofit because they know the value of economic education and are behind us all the way. And because of their support, the other thing that's important to know for educators is all of our programs are either low or no cost. I mean, teachers pay $25 to attend a full day Saturday class with a professor, and you can't beat that. But they just need a little skin in the game, and so our classes are very inexpensive because we have such amazing donors that believe in our mission.
Okay, so 25. Did you hear that? $25 to take a class. If you're a teacher, if you know a teacher. There's no excuse not to do that. That is amazing. Wow.
Well, and the other thing too, Aaron, is while the vast majority of the teachers that take these classes are in economics or social studies or history or do some personal finance, we welcome teachers from any walk and any subject matter to join us and listen in to what this means. So you don't have to be teaching it currently. We want you to come in and tune in and learn something, even if it's for yourself personally. Or maybe you'll say, ooh, I could integrate some of this into my classroom, or I've got a teacher I want to bring along. So it's open.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's incredible that you guys are able to offer that at such a low price. I did not know that. Okay, so I guess I would be curious to know, more about you and your role in this and what it's meant to you. Is there an example, a recent example of how you guys have made a difference, or maybe early on as you were chair or as you were onboarding, that stands out in your mind where your organization has made a difference here across Colorado?
We we get such wonderful testimonials from teachers, and we after every class, at the end of every class, we ask teachers to complete a survey because we want to know that we are providing the highest quality programming. And we constantly get reports back from teachers that this has made a difference in my teaching. This guided me down a different path, which I'm thrilled to pieces about. I just learned last Thursday, one of our favorite teachers in Colorado Springs, who teaches at Doherty High School, wasn't an economics teacher at the time, but she heard about us. This was what I think she said, like 15 years ago. Heard about us. Classes were inexpensive, thought she'd take a class, flipped over Professor John Brock from UCCS, who taught the class and the program, and it completely changed the trajectory of what she wanted to be teaching in high school. And in return, then, think of the number of students that is really impacted, who constantly write us notes saying, oh my gosh, I've learned so much in the stock market experience program. I had no idea I could invest in stocks. I didn't know what that really meant. So we get testimonials and thank yous all the time from students and teachers saying this really has impacted me personally, and it's impacted either my profession or where I might be going in life. And it's very exciting. We just completed a strategic plan with our board of directors in January, looking at how we can grow. And this is the perfect time to do that. So we hired a second fundraiser, and we have so many opportunities with exciting programs that have been sitting on the back burner, sizzling on the back burner, that we're ready to launch. And we're hiring a new program manager to bring on more student programs so we can get it to the students with some of these exciting programs. So that's what matters to us. The quantity is great, that we reach so many teachers. And of course, our goal is to always reach more, but the value that this brings to their life and to their classroom is what matters equally for us.
That's great, and great for a teacher down at Doherty High School. Very cool. Okay, so you guys are celebrating your 50th anniversary, is that right?
Right.
Yeah, that's incredible. So what are you guys doing this year for this? Any particular program or event to celebrate this?
Right. We launched into, at the very beginning of the year, we launched into a wonderful 50th anniversary matching gift campaign. Two of our major donors, Buzz Coble and Terry Considine, each put up $25,000. And their goal was a 1-to-2 match, that they would raise $100,000 on top of their 50. And it ended up being a 1-to-4 match.
Wow.
These are the kinds of people that are behind us that let their friends and everyone they know say, this is critical to kids like this. That we announced when we had a late June luncheon. We announced the results of that, and at the luncheon, and this is a great thing, our very first president of this organization from 1970s, her name is Kay Schmidt, still lives in Boulder with her husband, and we recognized, honored her. She's turned 88, and she's still sharp as can be, passionate about economic education, and she and her husband really got a lot rocking and rolling back in the 70s when then Governor John Love said, you know what, I recognize there is a gap in what students know upon graduation, what they really need to know to be, the kind of citizens we want in our society, really active and engaged and knowledgeable. So she's the one that they eventually brought on to run this organization. So we had a wonderful celebration for her and had a room full of fantastic people from our community, and it's really been exciting. And then what we're running into next, what's going to be happening next, is our Adam Smith Award dinner on October 13th. We will be recognizing our honoree this year is Meg Duke, and she's been a longtime supporter of ours and passionate about economic education. That's always a wonderful event, and then we'll have an exciting networking event November 13th, more of a casual, fun event to get to know more people. So we have a lot of fun things going on this year.
That's great. What a great way to commemorate that and to be able to bring in additional funds and I
Hmm.
have not met those gentlemen, but I know that they are bringing in some serious firepower to
Yes.
help your organization. So that's tremendous.
Right.
Okay, so this is leading me down the path. I've got to ask you about one of your board members here, Ryan Harris,
Yeah.
former offensive lineman for the Denver Broncos, was on the Super Bowl 50 championship team. He's part of your board of directors, is that right? And
He
how did you
is.
guys connect with him?
He is. We were fortunate to meet him about 3 or 4 years ago when we started our Money Wiser Personal Finance for Teachers workshops. And these workshops are day long. Part of the day is spent helping the teachers know what they should be teaching at every grade level in
Okay.
personal finance. The other part of the day was to help them personally become more knowledgeable in personal finance. And Ryan was introduced to us as somebody who is really passionate about personal finance and the
Mm,
impact, the positive impact having that knowledge in your life would make. And so he was our keynote speaker at some of these workshops, and the teachers loved it. And of course, his energy level
yeah.
is up here like nobody else's. And it's just so exciting to have him around. And then, so we asked him to do a quick presentation at our upcoming Brews and Views networking event. And he said, sure, I'll be there. He's such a warm, wonderful person to have in our community. And so he spent the time with us at the networking event, and then that was when we said, "Wait a minute, this is a guy we need on our board because
Mm,
his energy is so great and he's so exciting." And as he puts in all of his texts and his emails and everything, let's change the world. And we believe that having economic and personal finance in your background, in your noggin up here, can change your life. And if it changes a lot of lives, we'll start changing the world. So he's been great to have on board. He's such a great speaker. He's written a really powerful book.
mm.
And it's just folks like that on our board really have a strong impact. And we really appreciate him and on all he does for us. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and everybody loves to hear the stories about the Broncos play, but
Yeah.
but to have somebody that's personally passionate like that to come in
Yeah.
and join your guys' team, join your huddle, right in a way,
Mhm.
is really tremendous. So that's exciting to hear. Okay, good. All right, so a couple other questions here, just off topic that I want to ask you. As somebody from Colorado, that I like to ask my guests, and I'm gonna wrap this up here because I've taken plenty of your time here today. So you've been very generous, and I
Oh,
appreciate
this
it.
is
But
great.
a couple questions that I love to ask my guests. How long have you lived in Colorado, and in your opinion, what makes our state so great?
My family moved to Colorado from Iowa when I was 1 year old.
Okay.
So I consider myself a native. Now, I've often been shot down because they say, "What hospital were you born at?" And then I have to tell them the truth. But I consider myself a native. I went to Littleton schools. I'm a CU buff. Love this state. It's beautiful for one thing. We've got the mountains, we've got the plains. The people here, it's not such. It's really a small town. What I love about it, I'm not talking the size. I'm talking the people here that
Mm,
are so endearing. Constantly, we run into people. You and I met at a different place and time, and then you came to our event, and now we're here. And
mm,
and I know, oh, and you know so and so, and we connect. And people here really care about helping each other out. That's what I love, and they mean it sincerely and genuinely. And they come to our board, say, "Hey, I want you to be so and so, or you got to be so and so, and let's go up there and talk." To them or whatever's going on, or part of the Denver Metro Chamber. You and I are part of the American Enterprise Institute Denver, Colorado Leadership
uh-huh.
Network, and we're always constantly crossing paths and feel like we really are together in this. And that's what I feel about Colorado that I love is the togetherness, the connectedness, and the real caring that takes place.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's good, and that's
Yeah.
part of what I'm trying to do through this channel is highlight people who and organizations that are doing great things around Colorado that are willing to step up and help out.
Mhm.
And I think you're right. There's so many people around our community that want to do that. Okay, three quick questions, lightning round. What's your favorite place to visit in Colorado?
That's a tough one. You weren't going to give me any warning in this, were you? Probably because I was, let's see, oh my gosh, my daughter is, and her husband are taking us to all these new places all the time. But the one place I still love, because I guess I went to Boulder, was just the Boulder Mall. It's just such a cool place to hang around.
Is it? Yeah,
I'll go with
16th
that.
Street Mall is great. Okay. Or Pearl Street, excuse me, the Pearl Street Mall.
Yeah.
Okay, when you go in the mountains, you prefer camping in a tent, an RV, or staying in a hotel? Yeah,
The latter.
okay.
Absolutely.
And final question, can you name a movie that has been filmed in Colorado?
Uh-oh. I'm in trouble, aren't I? Um, oh, Sleeper.
Sleeper.
That is me, doesn't it? That's the old Woody Allen movie that was filmed up at the spaceship house up in Genesee.
Oh.
Did you know that, Aaron?
I did not know that. Okay, so most people say The
Okay.
Shining. So The Sleeper.
Oh,
Ooh, you brought
yeah.
out. Okay, I'll check that out. That's good. The Sleeper with Woody Allen. Yeah, I know that house too. That is, grow up by something all the time as a kid, going up there and stare at that, and now I
That's
point
right.
that out to my kids. Hey, look, there's that
I
weird
know.
house that's up there in Genesee Pass. So okay, that is. Thank you. You gave me something to look at here. So, all right. So, Debbie, uh, where can people learn more? Where can teachers learn more, particularly about economic literacy Colorado and how to get involved with your organization? Or if somebody is willing to step up and give you guys some money towards your goals this year, where can they find you and help contribute?
Our website is at econlitco.org. We call ourselves EconLitco, short for Economic Literacy Colorado. So econlitco.org. And if you click on there, you're going to find all of the teacher programs that are available, a way to contribute if you would like to, what is up and coming in terms of events and activities, some great videos, a video we shared about our history that took place that we
Mm.
showed at our June event when we honored our founding presidents. So all the information on the webpage there, just click on it. You can check out who our board of directors are, who's on our staff. We would love for anybody educated. We have retired educators. We have a lot of homeschool parents, private school, charter, all kinds of teachers who are engaged in our programming. We even have a resource page on there for parents and kids if you want to click and figure out some other things that you can do with your kiddos. And we set this up during COVID so people could do their own
Right.
thing. So econlitco.org, that's the place to go.
Beconletco.org. Great. Thank you
Mhm.
so much. Well, like I've got a ton of other questions I would love to ask you, but I'll save them for another day. Thank you so much. Thank you for being generous with your time today, walking through this and sharing about the good work that you guys are doing to help really make an impact with teachers and equipping them to help make an impact in their classroom as well. So, Debbie Pierce, Economic Literacy Colorado, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to go ahead and let you go here and just wrap up for a moment myself. So,
Thanks a million, Aaron.
thank you. Talk to you later.
Bye bye.
All right, there we go, folks. Debbie Pierce from the nonprofit Economic Literacy Colorado. That was a very interesting topic. I've known some about that organization and have met Debbie in the past, but certainly learned some new things and think that, for teachers that are interested in trying to learn more themselves about value, about the economy, and how they can help equip themselves so they can teach kids in their classroom. What a great organization, and the mission that Debbie and her team have. I hope that you find that valuable. Please reach out to them if you have questions. You can ask them down below as well, and love to try to help.